Now, if you don't know, Stephen A. Smith is a commentator and has been for the last 30 or so years. Very popular man and figure, pardon me, in the sports world. You pull up Stephen, the first one that comes up is Curry, the next one is A. Smith. So he's a big deal. It takes a lot of hard work to even get that far in this media game where if you Google somebody, if you Google their first name, usually they come up. It's pretty crazy. Or just their initials, the AS or SAS. I was about to say ASS. but yeah, legend, nobody can take away his, not a credibility, but nobody can take away his accolades within this media game, within coming from beat writing to going on pardon me, going on TV and now doing the whole crossover media thing where he has a podcast. Sometimes his daughter shows up. Just being an overall figure and main player in this whole media shit. So we can never take that away from Stephen A. Why is my laptop not charging? I have no clue. So if my laptop dies, fuck it. But recently, Stephen A. Smith, or this past week, you probably have seen him going viral for his comments and political takes. His commentary has been more and more and more in line with like a Charlemagne the God in terms of I might want to make the pivot over to another, another space. I got opinions that aren't just, sports, that aren't just LeBron. LeBron's about to retire. What's my next thing? Let me go after some governors. Let me go after the presidency, if that. So I do have some clips that surfaced this past week. I believe he was on Sunday morning. So I hope that these clips don't get clapped on YouTube. But the first clip, actually, I'm going to leave that for last. The first clip that I'm going to pull is him, and he's talking about there not being a border crisis under his tenure. So I'm going to put this full screen, and we'll get right to it. Hold on.
Make no mistake about it, we wouldn't have a border crisis under my watch. Hell no. We wouldn't have this crime that exists in the streets of New York. You wouldn't hear about me saying defund the police. We ain't defunding any police. I'm calling 911 when there's a problem. I know you're calling 911 when there's a problem. I'll be damned if I'm going to have less police officers out there. There's going to be more. That's me. I would focus on a flourishing economy and making sure we did everything we could, because I believe when you have something to lose, you know how to behave. When you have something to lose, you know how to behave.
That's not always
If you
the
have
case.
nothing, you have nothing to lose.
That's not always the case. That's not always the case. That sounds good, for this little sound bite. But when you have something to lose, think about how many people have so much to lose and they'll fuck around, spend it at the casino. This shit sounds good when you're talking and have no stakes in the matter in terms of governing people's lives. This shit sounds good, right? And when he said, I call the police when there's an issue. Yeah, nigga, who else are you gonna call? The fucking rescue heroes? Like, of course, when you're at a certain level and you have a certain amount of money, you call the police instantly. You have something to protect, right? But over policing has been proven to not always work. And almost always, it doesn't work. Look at what they're doing in Baltimore. Shout out to my boy Brandon. Look at what they're doing in Baltimore, where neighborhoods are saying, we don't need the police here. We're going to govern ourselves. We're going to take care of the situations within our neighborhoods, and crime has gone down. Arrests have gone down. In the time before Brandon, his last name escapes me right now, but his first name is Brandon. So I'm going to talk to him like he's my nigga because he is my nigga. Okay, so in the time in which, before Brandon, I believe he said they had thousands of arrests, and crime was still at an all-time high. So arrests and doing that shit, doing this merry-go-round rigmarole is not always the answer. Give me 1 second. I see the issue. My laptop did unplug, so let me get to that. Hold on. I don't want my laptop to die. Hold on. Also, leave a like if you're fucking with the new background. We're in the Tintoretta Studios. If you want to book a show here, we have a movable stage. So let me know. Anyway, back to Stephen A. Smith, right? I'm going to let the clip land, but we know that over policing doesn't work. We know that people risk it for the biscuit all the time, especially when they have things to lose. So I'm not buying that shit. Let's hear the rest of it.
Nothing to lose. And as a result, you're willing to tear down anything.
Sorry. That's a crazy fucking screenshot.
When you have something to lose, you know how to behave. If you have nothing to lose.
No, when you have mentorship, you know how to behave. Just because a nigga might have a nice car doesn't mean that he knows how to use it. Just because a nigga got nice shoes, if you never had nobody in your life tell you don't get them bitches dirty, you gonna walk in the mud. What the fuck are we talking about?
Nothing to lose. And as a result, you're willing to tear down anything, even if it's America, because you feel betrayed by a country that's supposed to be looking out for you and positioning you to thrive instead of wallow in misery and suffering.
I'm curious to see who he's talking about in this whole you're willing to tear down. Who's willing to tear down what?
So, of course, I would pay attention to the economy. I would pay attention to all of those things. Make no mistake about it.
The nigga asked him about the border. Okay, I got another clip. Man. It sounds like somebody's just yelling outside. Goodness gracious. Can we go back to this? All right. All right. We're back in the game, y'all. I apologize. Okay. So this clip, it's a longer one now, but this one is talking about if Stephen A. Smith would run as a Democrat or Republican if he, ran for office. And when I mean office, I mean the big house in 2028, which, sidebar, it doesn't make sense. Why do these people who have an opinion on everything feel the need that their opinion is so important that they would be a good president? Stephen A. Smith has never ran for public office, but yet he's the one to become president. Granted, we do have Trump in office, but at the same time, he should have never been president. So this whole Trumpism, I think I can do better, I'm an outsider coming into a situation, is fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. Politicians shouldn't be celebrities, and celebrities shouldn't be politicians. Simple as that. I'm not voting for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. There's always rumors of maybe The Rock might run for president. Why the fuck would The Rock run for president? Why the fuck is Stephen A. Smith over here talking about running for president? I think, personally, he has no intention of running for president, and if he does, he'll shut me the fuck up. But I don't think he has any intention of running for president. I think that he sees the changing landscape within media. He sees the changing landscape within sports. And he realizes that how long can I be the old man barking at young people? It's changing. Weed is not as stigmatized. Remember, that was his slogan. Get off the weed. That was his favorite thing to say. Clowning on black men, right? Changing landscape within media. So that's what I think, personally. I don't think he's running for president. I think these are all just so, When it's time to stop talking about sports, he has something else to talk about. This is a different sport. Anyway, this is him talking about if he'd run for office, and if he does, would he run for which side of the fence would he be on?
Would you run as a Democrat?
Yeah, because I couldn't see myself running as a member of the GOP. I'm a fiscal conservative. I can't stand high taxes, but I'm a social liberal. In the same breath, because I believe in living and let live. I pay attention to the desolate and the disenfranchised. Yes, I like strong borders. That's absolutely true. We never needed open borders, but we don't need it to be completely closed either. We're a gorgeous mosaic.
Sounds like you're getting a stump speech ready, Stephen.
No, there's no stump speech, but I can give it.
Could you be competitive in a Democratic primary? Some big names might run. Gavin Newsom, the California governor, among many others.
I respect all of them.
Why not run for governor? Why not start there? Why do you feel like your opinion is so important that you need to run everybody? Watch niggas like that. Niggas who got egos, I want to take over the whole. Nigga, you ain't even in charge of your own homeroom. How you going to be in charge of the whole school? I was always rearing niggas like that.
I pay attention to the desolate and the disenfranchised. Yes, I like strong borders. That's absolutely true. We never needed open borders, but we don't need it to be completely closed either. We're a gorgeous mosaic.
Sounds like you're getting a stump speech ready, Stephen.
No, there's no stump speech, but I can give it.
Could you be competitive in a Democratic primary? Some big names might run. Gavin Newsom, the California governor, among many others.
I respect all of them in terms of their intellect, in terms of where their heart lies, in terms of the service that they want to provide to this country. But ultimately, your actions speak louder than anything.
What are your actions, Stephen A? Because you got a long track record of just dogging on black men. This is not me dogging on you either. I ain't called you out of your name. I ain't called you no donkey or disgrace or what you call LeBron, Kyrie. List goes on and on. But what does that say about you, bro? Anyway, let's get back to that clip.
Gavin Newsom is somebody that I think has tremendous potential if he moves towards the center. But ultimately,
first off, a lot of the Democrats today, the big wig Democrats, are like 2008 Republicans, bro. And then you have motherfuckers like this talking about he needs to move closer to the center. He needs to get the other side. What other side? He's pretty central from where I'm standing. He's pretty central. And I feel like, what?
Affordability with taxes in the state of California, the homelessness, the crime. He's going to have to answer those questions, being a prisoner to the environmentalist out there. He's going to have to answer those questions.
All right. Last clip, and it has to deal with racismo. Racismo.
If he ran for president.
Stephen A. Smith on if he worries about racism if he ran for president.
Does he worry about racism if he ran for president?
No. I know it exists. I know that you can't escape it, but I do not believe it is as prevalent as some on the left would like us to believe. I do believe a vast majority of Americans judge you on the content of your individual character rather than the color of your skin.
This nigga is, if he's actually serious about running for president, he's going to piss too many people off on both sides to not get anything. You got to pick one lane, man. You got to pick one lane because niggas is dying out here. I don't know if you know, but people are dying out here. And it's not because of the merit of their character. It's because of what they see in the mirror. So it's incredibly ignorant to say that I think majority of Americans and da-da-da-da-da. The current president was endorsed by the KKK. 'Cause 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 'Cause
I think a lot of people in America, especially in this day and age, now more so than ever before, it's not about race. It's about the fact that they don't give a damn about it because they got their own problems. That's entirely different than believing they are superior to you and they want to hold you back from ascending. That's not what's going on to the degree that it was decades ago. What's going on now is that we have more white Americans and others suffering and worried about the state of our nation. And because they're concerned about that, that's where their worries lie.
Did you worry about racism?
This nigga sound like Steven from Django. He sound like Steven from the... Ain't no racism out there, boss. No. Ain't no racism. I ain't seen it. Like I said before I started this whole segment, Stephen A. has my full respect in terms of how he pulled himself up, went from being a beat writer to being a main figure within sports media to now being able to pivot creatively, being relevant across multiple lanes. But this lane is a little close to the sun, my friend. I'm not with it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of these people who have all these opinions, who get paid to talk about their opinions, feeling as if that their opinion is so important that they have to rule a whole country. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. But that's all I have on Stephen A. Smith himself, right? I have a clip that's been going viral on Twitter in terms of why we should support Stephen A. Smith. What the hell is this? Let me pull this up.
You guys may think I'm crazy.
Again, I am still a little bit under the weather, so I apologize if you can hear my webby voice. Let's put this on the screen. Jamil Hill, or I don't want to, Miss Hill, on Stephen A. Smith, the Democrats need to take him seriously. He is a threat. How is somebody who's never mind.
Listen, you guys may think I'm crazy, but if I'm the Democrats, given Stephen A.'s name recognition and his constant ability to attract audience.
So because this nigga talks about LeBron, or made a career of talking about LeBron and being loud and boisterous, we should take him seriously to be our president.
To speak in sound bites, to debate, because...
Speak in sound bites. We need a president who can speak in paragraphs. We need a president who can give a speech, not a fucking soundbite, not some shit for 2 minutes on Twitter, not some shit to react to, some shit to, ponder on. Damn, he was actually spitting. Damn, the president actually made sense. Damn, he actually put 3 sentences together.
Stephen A. on a debate stage, it will get real. Again, we have a president that is loose on the facts. And I know some of you are thinking like, but he's black. He's not going to be able to get away with the same things that Donald Trump is. Sure, to a degree, but he will if he has a message and messaging that connects with white people. He absolutely will. So if I'm the Democrats and I see Stephen A. constantly talking about running for president.
First off, the same reason why I'd never take Charlemagne the God seriously in terms of being a political voice or running for office one day is because this nigga got a nickname. Stephen A. This nigga got a nickname. Like, bro, cut it out. Cut it out.
This is CBS News that is doing a big piece on him on their morning show. ABC's already done a piece on him. He's a best-selling author. He's already got media wired. The Democrats need to take him seriously. He's a threat. If you're a Democrat that wants to run for president, or if you as the party in general don't want someone like Stephen A's popularity or people to start paying more attention to his politics, and you don't want people to give more consideration to him running, then you nip this in the bud. You start taking him seriously. Listen, you guys.
Okay, my question is, and sorry I kept pausing it. I was trying to get it to continue on my screen right here, not down here. I'll say this, and I'll be done on this topic. Ultimately, she's right in terms of Stephen A. being able to pivot creatively in terms of his commentary and how he's become a figure not only for the last generation but this current generation. He's prevalent. What she fails to recognize is Stephen A. has never held public office. He's never put his name up for public opinion in terms of a yes or a no, a this or a that. He's always been the heel or the in support of your take. You know what I'm saying? He's never been the main character. And you might say, Andre, he's the main character on ESPN right now to talk about other niggas. Yes, we tune in to hear Stephen A's opinion on other niggas. Not when it comes to the world and the world economy. I was half watching Dean Withers live earlier, and and then I realized he was talking about Stephen A. Smith, and I was like, what the fuck? Exactly. What the fuck are we talking about? What reality is this in which, and shout out to Darian Waller, what reality is this in which somebody who's never held public office can be taken seriously just because he's successfully built a career for himself talking about other people? I would never run for president. Granted, I'm not on Stephen A. Smith's level, but I would not run for president. Not because I'm not 45 or whatever the cutoff 40 is, but because I have no idea how to run public office. I would like to, prep myself first. I was student class president. I was, student government president too. So in terms of running for office, I got something in my locker. I know how to market myself. And Stephen A. Smith does too. But not to run the fucking country, bro. The Trump experiment has not worked. He's only divided this country even more so. So I'm giving a big no to Stephen A. running. Start at governor. Can we start there? Can we start at governor at least before we talk about running the whole 50 states? Have you been to all the 50 states?